Hello, everybody. Welcome to Coffee with Craig. It is Saturday, October 21st. This is the recorded me. The live me is actually in Southern California. I am in Anaheim at the California Republican Party Convention, where I will be speaking this evening to the Republican Liberty Caucus. We're going to be talking about not backing down. We're going to be talking about no capitulation and standing up for the Second Amendment and for other civil rights here in the state of California. Which actually leads me to my topic for today, which is this question. Are some Republicans capitulating or compromising when it comes to the Second Amendment? Now, I say that, I noticed I said the word some, not all, but some, because it seems like every time that there is some sort of a mass shooting or there's an incident involving a firearm, there always seems to be this group of individuals who are looking for a reason, a way in which to come out and say, look, I really am anti-Second Amendment. I really don't believe that the Second Amendment is a right, or I believe in promoting common sense gun legislation. Let me give you an example. Here in California, we have a legislator named Catherine Baker. She is the only Republican representing the San Francisco Bay Area, which leads you to believe that, yeah, she's probably not necessarily totally Republican. Some would like to call her a rhino. I believe that's giving her too much credit. I believe she happens to be a jackass in an elephant suit. Having said that, she decided to carry a bill sponsored by the Brady campaign. Now, this particular measure, as introduced, was a lot worse than the bill that would eventually pass and get signed by the governor. But having said that, every single one of the lobbyists that met with her, who advocate on behalf of the Second Amendment, advised Assemblywoman Baker not to carry the bill. And guess what she did? She carried the bill. Now, she not only carried it, but it was worse than what she told us it was going to be. It wasn't until you folks got involved, her constituents, started calling, emailing, writing, and encouraging her to change her bill or basically to get rid of the bill. She wound up amending it to a much less version of the bill. Nonetheless, the whole goal wasn't about what she was getting done. It was about getting in cozy with the Brady campaign so that she would look good, so that she would say, I supported common sense gun legislation. Well, let's fast forward. Now we have the shooting that took place in Las Vegas. And now we have a group of Republicans introducing H.R. 3999. Now, this is a measure that is very, very much, in fact, almost exactly like Senator Dianne Feinstein's Senate Bill 1916, which bans firearm parts, or in this case, semi-automatic rifle parts. Anything up to and including certain trigger groups, certain triggers, certain bolts, as well as other non-necessarily firearms parts like rubber bands, belt loops, and hair ties, because they have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. And lest you say, well, there's probably only just one Republican. No, there's a whole group of Republicans. It's sponsored by Representative Carlos Curbelo he's a Republican from Florida. Those of you here in California, you guys see all of the names that are here. There's a number here from New Jersey, not surprising, also from Pennsylvania. But oh, look, for those of you from California, Representative Edward Royce from California's 39th Congressional District. And for those of you who think that, well, maybe this is just a phenomenon, these are a bunch of backbenchers who are not necessarily who are looking at this. Even Speaker Paul Ryan has stepped up and said this might be something that he's looking at supporting.
You are literally fresh off an interview with House Speaker Paul Ryan, and you asked him about now the conversation that's happening around gun rights, gun control on Capitol Hill. I want to play our first look at your interview with the Speaker.
John Cornyn has said he wants to have hearings on bump stocks, open to a vote. Are you open to a vote on bump stocks?
Yeah, look, I didn't even know what they were until this week, and I'm an avid sportsman. So I think we're quickly coming up to speed with what this is. Fully automatic weapons have been banned for a long time. Apparently this allows you to take a semi-automatic, turn it into a fully automatic, so clearly that's something we need to look into.
Did that surprise you?
Yes, no hemming, no hawing, no we need hearings, but bump stocks are going to be illegal in the United States, I think within the month, maybe by the end of the year, depending on procedural votes. But the Speaker was very quick to join number 2 in the Senate, John Cornyn, and many other Republicans in saying, didn't know these existed, they're terrible.
I spoke with one high-ranking Democrat, actually, yesterday when I was over on Capitol Hill doing this story for Nightly News, who seemed much more skeptical than you, which I find interesting that the Democrats who want this and who are pushing for this are even saying, hey, maybe there is a little bit of a crack in the armor here.
Well, no one knew what bump stocks was. I didn't either.
And neither did a lot of senators.
Yeah, Paul Ryan is a sportsman. He's a hunter. I talked to him at great length about hunting, so it's a news to him. However, later in the interview, which will air on Saturday, I talked to him about why not give a vote on the Australian option, the buyback, the ban of shotguns. He said, no, that's a show vote. We're not going to do that. So there might be a specific piece of legislation, but not much.
Hey there. So, as you can see, here it is. And once again, you have folks who didn't even know what they were. And that's the interesting part about the whole thing. Before the shooting, 99.9% of these legislators didn't even know what a bump stock was. And a week later, 99.9% of them still don't know what a bump stock is. But guess what? They're willing to ban it. Why? Because guns. Because apparently guns mean more than the Second Amendment. Apparently looking good in front of the liberal media, looking good in front of the Brady campaign, looking good in front of Everytown is more important to some Republicans than actually standing up for what the Republican Party stands for. See, I happen to believe this. Now, I've been a Republican activist for well over 25 years. I know. I don't look old enough to have been a Republican involved that long. But guess what? I have been. And here's what I've come to learn over that time. I've come to learn that there are certain third-rail issues when it comes to the Republican Party, certain things that you just don't mess with. One of them is taxes. Another is guns. Now, I bring those two up specifically for this reason. There's only been 2 times during my entire time that I can remember Republicans being in the super minority here in the California state legislature. Super minority meaning the Democrats have the super majority. So maybe I should call it the not so super minority. Anyway, the first time was when a group of Republican leaders actually voted for tax increases. Guess what? A year later, and after the next election, not one of those Republican legislators was still in office. And Republicans were in the super minority in the California state legislature in both houses. Fast forward to last year when we had gunpocalypse or gunmageddon, whichever phrase you wish to call it. You had a massive number of gun bills that basically were just shoved through the California legislature, ignoring all process and all rules of order and law. So what did they do? You had a handful of Republicans who voted to ban semi-automatic center-fire rifles in the state of California that have the bullet button. They voted to ban them. Republicans voted to ban them. And all of those Republican legislators are gone except one. Guess who the one is? Catherine Baker. So she feels extra emboldened. Oh, by the way, just to remind you, in California, Republicans are once again in a super minority here in the California state legislature. Now, Catherine Baker has been doubly emboldened. So last year she voted to ban guns and got reelected. So this year she decided she's not only going to sponsor an anti-gun bill, she decided that she is going to, how shall we say, brag in every committee hearing she can and in the media about voting to ban guns. Not only voting to ban guns, but if you are a gun owner who is accused of a crime, you are now going to be a criminal because you will own a gun and be accused of a crime. Catherine Baker bragged about voting for that. Folks, these are Republicans. And I like to say this. The party, the political party, whatever it is, Republican or the Democrat, they are the keeper of the values. And if Republicans are not going to stand up for the basic, fundamental things that I think all of us Republicans should agree on, well, then maybe it's time to rethink that particular party. I, for one, am not giving up on the Republican Party. I, for one, am going to do whatever I can to make sure that the Republican Party stays Republican. Maybe, just maybe, if we became more effective communicators about what our values are and actually acted upon those values, both in how we vote and how we carry ourselves as Republicans, maybe, just maybe, our numbers would be better in the state of California. I'm just wondering. Anyway, folks, that's going to be it for today's Coffee with Craig. I hope I'll see some of you guys out at the Republican Liberty Caucus meeting tonight. If not, we'll talk to you again tomorrow. Folks, have fun. Stay free.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.